All right, so hello, seventh grade. So to kind of prepare for our final, I was looking over an MCAA sampler test, and I thought, well, a lot of these questions are going to be very similar. So I thought it would be beneficial for us to kind of go through some review problems that are also in the MCAA practice test. So what I'd like you to do is try these on your own first. I'll give you a chance to pause the video, try it on your own, and then we'll go through it. So go ahead, try number 1 and number 2. Now pause it, and then I'm about to start. Okay, so again, super important that we remember the order of operations. P stands for parentheses, E stands for exponents. So 2.25 squared really means 2.25 multiplied by 2.25. In this section, they are asking that you do not use a calculator. So again, what you got to do is you guys got to start multiplying. So first I'm going to do 5 times 5, 5 times 2, and 5 times 2. So 25, 10, 11, 12, 10, 11. Then I'm going to X this out, bring down a 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4. So I get 4. Awesome. Now we're going to X out another one. And we're going to get 0 and 0. And now I'm doing 2 times 5, 2 times 2, and 2 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4. So we're going to add it all together. 5, 2, 6, 10, and 1. And now we got to count with our decimal places right here. How many decimals do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got to start on the end and go in 1, 2, 3, 4. So this answer is, we still have this 3, and then we have 5.0625. So now we're going to line up again, and we're going to multiply this new number. So 5.0625 multiplied by 3, 15, 7, 18, 0, 15, and then we count how many places our decimal spot is. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So our answer is going to be 15.0875. Which shows a model of -3 plus 4. So we have to start at -3. Or we have to show -3. So showing -3 would be starting at 0, moving backwards 3 units, and then adding 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4 would end up at 1. So my model, this is going to equal 1. So the correct answer is B. This one, it extends too long. This one doesn't start at 0. And this one starts at -3 and just keeps going forward. So, which describes K, the absolute value of K on the number line. So again, these are the absolute value like markers or lines. And absolute value, by definition, is the distance from 0. So when you think absolute value in your mind, I want you to think distance from 0. And that's why we always get a positive number when we take the absolute value, because distance can't be negative. We're not quite there yet. Haven't gotten there yet. Again, we're not going to be able to answer all of these. That's totally fine. Okay, end of segment 1. into segment 2. This we've done. So again, 4 points are graphed on a line. What point is opposite of -2? So the key word is opposite. So again, if this is where -2 is, the opposite of -2 would be +2. So I'm going to say that this is going to be point M. Okay, so just thinking about this, again, we're going to have to evaluate this. You need to make sure you've got apples and apples or oranges and oranges. Now, I know from my facts or from my knowledge that if I take a decimal, a number that's in between 0 and 1, and I multiply it by another number that's in between 0 and 1, it's going to get smaller. Think about it as 1/2 times 1/2 equals 1/4. In this case, it's actually 3/4 times 3/4, which equals 9/16. Again, either way, it's getting smaller. So this is not true because it's getting smaller. Now, I don't know about this one, so I might have to figure out what is -3/8 as a decimal. So 3/8, put a decimal point. 3, 24, 6, 0. I'm going to have to move this down a little bit. Eight goes in there, 7, 8, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Already, right now, I can tell that, hey, 0.37, whatever is going to go on. Again, this is 0.37, ... Either way, that's going to be bigger than 0.38. I know right now that -0.37 is bigger, and this is wrong because it opens the wrong way. I'm going to just switch colors, but let's see here. How many times does 25 go into 46? 46 minus 25 gives me 21. So the real question is this the same as 1 and 21 25ths? We could see if we can simplify anything. I don't think we can off the top of our head. So we would again need to see if we can. This is a calculator portion of our quiz. So I would say, all right, 21 over 25. Got some pre-algebra or pre-calculus going on there. Is 0.84, and 5 divided by 6 is 0.833333. So that's like saying this is 1.84 is bigger than 1.83333. Repeating, yes, that's true. That's our final answer. No way, not a chance. A negative number is never bigger than a positive number. So that one we know for a fact is not true. Jeremy can plant 10 trees in 4 hours. How many trees can he plant in 10 hours? So I would say, all right, instead of comparing 10 trees in 4 hours, let's figure out how many trees in 1 hour. So if I take 10 and divide it by 4, 8, now I have to add in a number, so I'm going to bring up my decimal point. That's going to be 5. So he plants 2.5 trees per hour, which if you multiply 2.5 times 10, you get 25. 25 trees in 10 hours. That's pretty good. On Mondays, Jada runs between 2 and 5 miles. On Tuesdays, she runs 3 times as far as she runs on the previous Monday. We're not quite there yet. In the space below. I think we can do this. This will be direct substitution. How many are left? Oh, we got quite a few. Okay. So again, every time that I see a T, I'm going to plug in a -3. Every time I see an R, I'm going to plug in a 5. So I'm going to say 4 times -3 squared. Make sure you write everything in first before you solve anything. I almost forgot an R there. Make sure you use parentheses and make sure you plug everything in first. So I have to do exponents first. So -3 times -3 is +9. So now we can keep simplifying. 4 times 9 is 36. 6 times 5 is 30. -3 times 15 is -15. But when you subtract a negative, remember it turns into a superplus. So we are actually adding. Subtracting a negative cancels out. So 36 plus 30 is 66. Plus 15 gives me 81. A map uses the scale 1.5 centimeters equals 25 miles. Two cities are 190 miles apart. How far apart are the cities on the map? So this scale right here is the important part. So every 25 miles is going to equal 1.75 miles. So I got to look at the other piece of information. In real life, the cities are 190 miles apart. So I got to somehow make a connection to these two. So I'm going to try to figure out, okay, how many groups of 25 is 190? So I'm going to take 190, divide it by 25. I'm going to use my calculator and get 7.6. So again, there are 7.6 groups of 25 miles to get to 190. And now I need to take 1.5 centimeters and go 7.6 and multiply it by 1.5. Again, I can use my calculator and get an answer of 11.4. So make sure my units, double check units are centimeters. Okay, that looks like B, 11.4 centimeters apart on the map. All right, here we go, continuing on. An equation is showing n equals 1 divided by 17. So remember we had a chart that went something like this where we said, all right, our smallest numbers are whole numbers. And then after that, we have the natural numbers. Well, excuse me, the natural numbers, the whole numbers oftentimes get grouped into the same. So we will say that we have whole numbers and then we have integers. Again, whole numbers are like 0, 1, 2, 3. Integers have positives and negatives. And then we had this category of rational numbers, which could be written as a fraction, which if we take a look at this case, n equals 1 divided by 17. So as long as it's a repeating decimal, if it can be written as a fraction, it's a rational number. And then we have irrational all the way over here. And irrational is totally separate. Irrational are decimals that never repeat and never end. So in this case, because we can write 1 divided by 17 as a fraction, we know that it is rational. It is a decimal that will go on forever, but again, as long as the decimal repeats, we're going to be okay. So again, this is the section that you can use a calculator on. So I know that, okay, fives, they all have fives, so that's fine. Let's look at 5. Let's look at 2 over 15. What's 2 divided by 15? That's 0.133333333. So that means that of all these numbers, only the 3 is being repeated. This example B would be if it said 13131313 ... This would be 5.33333. The only one that was correct was 5.13333. So the answer is A. All right, taking a look at this problem, we've got to look at PEMDAS. I have parentheses, but I can't do anything in them. So that moves me to exponents. I see I have -3 squared, which is the same thing as -3 times -3. So I can rewrite this without changing anything, but just adding in a +9 there. Now I'm going to think, okay, I need to multiply this 2 in here into each term. Or what I think I could do, or I know I can do, is I could take, hey, 2 and 9, let's multiply these together first, because the order of multiplication doesn't matter. So now it's a little bit easier for me to multiply inside of here. And when I do this, I'm going to also take in this negative with me. So 8 minus 18n, and remember that -18 goes to the term of 4 as well. So this is going to be -72. I've got two like terms that I can add together. So I get -18n minus 64, which if we look at our example here is letter C.